Welcome back, everyone, to the Flyin podcast. We are here tonight on a busy Monday night talking all things FCC. Big two, just kidding, 1-0 win over
Hey,
Orlando. I wanted to say 2-0 because we should have had multiple goals, but we get a goal very quick in this game. We get a nice win. Three wins in a row, guys. Pretty pumped about it. Here tonight with Zach and Sam, we got a full pod, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, super excited. Once again, 3 wins in a row after 2 straight losses. Um, Feels great. I think the boys are buzzing kind of. I don't know. This was a tough game. We had red cards on both sides. And for injury, we're losing some guys. Some guys are falling. So hopefully, going into this crucial game next week. Hopefully it's not too bad though. But yep, feeling pretty good about where we're at.
no pun intended, Sam, on that one. Um, Honestly, it's great to be back. Glad to be back with the trio. Been a little hiatus, but I think like Sam said, this was a tough game. Going into it, I mean, Orlando, they're looking to come off with a win at home, and they've not had a very successful first, I guess, quarter of games. So really, it was a tough game going into it, and then having the whole situation that we've got with Boop and a couple other players that we have that injury. It's good that we actually finally have a solid lineup. Getting a couple players. You know, Celentano back. I think overall good showing that we had.
Yeah, for sure. And ultimately, it's a win. No matter which way you want to chalk it up, it might have looked ugly, but it's a win. And win on the road is always a good thing in the MLS. So we'll kind of recap this game. As Zach alluded to, we'll talk in the second half a little bit about some players, off the field situations, on the field situations, and moving forward, what that looks like. We have a word from Alvas Powell, so that'll be kind of cool to hear from him and his thoughts on the season. And then, like the guys were saying, preview a little bit of Hell is Real round one. So at least in this game, like we mentioned, 1-0 win versus Orlando. That puts us at 6-2-3 on the year, which is technically second in the Eastern Conference, third in Supporters Shield, with a game in hand with Miami looking to have a couple more points than us. But at least going into this game, guys, as Sam and I had kind of previewed from the last game, we were looking forward to kind of see the striker pairings. Obviously, literally the day after we recorded, we get the whole Bupenza situation. We don't know fully what had gone on. We hope he's all right, that he's recovering well from the surgery. Be interesting to see what goes on in the summer. And does he stay as an FC Cincinnati player or not? We can only speculate on that, but at least in this game, guys, the lineup looked pretty much the same. We get Roman Celentano back after 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. You have Oriano, Murphy, Miazga, Robinson, Yedlin, Buka, Wobodo, Acosta, and then our two up top again was Kubo and Baird. So it was interesting to see. Sam, anything stand out for you in the lineup?
Like you had said, happy to see Salentano back out there. He had missed 4 games, I believe, and he was still tied for the MLS and clean sheets. I thought that was crazy. Happy to see Yedlin out there after taking that knock last week. But he was out at the FC Cincinnati 2 game. Looked like he was, healthy-ish. Obviously after the game, Pat was saying that he only played with 80%, right? So Kelsy on the bench is what I expected, but nothing else really came out to me.
I would say, barring the starting 11, I think the bench was the real interesting part. Really, most of those are academy players minus Powell and Haglin. Keller, you could say otherwise, but Kelsey, new player, and Assad. I think that tells you we've got a really young bench, and we're really going to be our academy and our young players are really going to. That's the future of this team. So it's really exciting to see all of them getting minutes.
Yeah, great point. Especially I feel like the young guys have now overtaken some senior roster spots. You know, you look at this game and Santos was a healthy scratch. You know, we're going to talk on this later, but you know, how does Dado's play, you know, overshadow what Santos has been doing? And you know, like you had alluded to as well. I mean, Kelsey's this big signing or this loan in, but he's only 19, you know? So a lot of these guys, like you are saying, off the bench are young, inexperienced in some ways. Kind of reminds me of the Philadelphia Union in some ways, with their starting 11 being so strong and so experienced, but you know, very much their bench being young and youthful guys that are coming in. So will be interesting to see how we integrate those pieces. But guys, if you weren't watching the beginning of this game, you know, within the first minute, you missed pretty much the game, you know. And 17 seconds in, I counted 5 passes. We go around the back to Yedlin, who plays just a beautiful ball through for Acosta. It almost seemed like this was off the training ground, guys, but very similar to how we saw in Atlanta with a Yedlin backspin ball to, you know, a running Acosta on the run, stops, takes it, you know, cuts back, has the guy slide right by him, and we score right in front of their supporter section, you know, 17 seconds in. Unbelievable first, you know, 30 seconds of the game. It's just crazy.
Yeah, like you had mentioned, I mean, Yedlin immediately finds Lucho. I thought that was the best part of it. And it almost like felt like it was drawn up, right? Like they had talked about it pregame and it was like, okay, hey, I'm gonna draw the defense in and then you play a ball over type thing. Because it almost seemed like too clean, too good that it had to been like some type of play. But then not only does he swerve one defender, he swerves two, and he serves three defenders, puts it in with the left foot. Just a crisp finish by Lucho, like always.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I did miss the goal. I had to go back and watch a replay. I literally was up getting like I think I was getting like a beer or something from the fridge, and then I turn around I'm like, wait, what? Um, so no, really, honestly, it's so funny that Lucho's getting through balls over the top, and beating like tall defenders. I just find that so funny. Um, it's just tells you what he can do with the ball, and his touch and control is unreal. So, um, I mean, props, because that was really the only true chance and opportunity I felt like we had the whole match. So I'm glad that Lucho put one in for us.
Yeah, and I don't know how we like failed to mention already, but the fastest goal in FC Cincinnati history, guys, you know, surpasses Edgar Castillo against the Crew. Just unbelievable goal in front of the Bailey, if you guys remember that one. But yeah, I think the Tifo was just being like rigged down, and the supporters were just able to watch the game after they lower it down. And they're getting all pumped up, starting their beginning cheers, and he scores right away. So it like silences them from the start. But guys, as we move on from that, you know, as we alluded to, there really wasn't a ton more, unfortunately, from our side. We kind of got our scoring out of the way, and then we decided to, you know, we're content. And that seems to be the trend in some ways in the last several games with a lead, but we can get into that later. 5th minute, guys, you know, again, off of a corner, we had a kind of like half volley that hits the post. The 17th minute, there's another ball whipped in across the box that the Orlando guy whiffs on the back post. So we're just seeing like all of these shots come at us from different angles within the first 20 minutes, even right after we scored. So it was a good response by Orlando.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, they kept firing at us, and that was their game plan early. I don't know, they got upset about probably us being 1-0 after 17 seconds or something like that. Um, but yeah, I think the chance that hit off the crossbar, and then Facundo Torres, who I believe he's Orlando's leading scorer, if I'm not mistaken.
Duncan
Um,
McGuire. Duncan
Okay,
McGuire.
McGuire
Yeah.
is. I think Facundo was like their newest like highest price signing or something
Mhm.
like that, correct?
Yep.
Um, so him botching that finish at the back post, I thought that was like wow. We got lucky on that one. But yeah, it seemed to kind of continue, you know, the entire game, not only just the first half.
Yeah, yeah, the intensity from Orlando, like you could tell it felt like we were overwhelmed in some way. I couldn't really place it. It seemed like maybe they were just beating our midfield to death. It seemed like they were just passing right through us and getting to the outside and passing them, crossing them in. So like you guys both said, just all game. It was like that. So it really honestly had me on edge the whole time. And I was honestly just waiting for it, to be honest. With unlucky disaster of a half from Orlando, like you're about to talk about, but really there was nothing. There was no offense to really even talk about. I'm gonna be honest with us in the first half. It was a
I will
pretty.
I will say I will say that's like when Ryan and I previewed this, like that's how we've played at Orlando. Like this is exact like it keeps happening. And we play exactly like this every time when we play at Orlando. It's just a tough place to play for us for some reason.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the heat or the way that Oscar Pareja, has played us. Yeah, Orlando hadn't been great this year, but I mean, you got to go down and you score, a minute into the game, you got to dominate from that point on. And I just found it interesting. We will next kind of talk about what happens in the 20th minute. There's a ball that's played back to their center back, and Kubo kind of takes it right off his foot. It's one-on-one with the keeper. Maybe you can argue should have maybe gotten a shot off before he gets fouled. Guys, this was a clear dog, so a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. To me it was clear. The ref was kind of running from, I think, midfield, was just trying to catch his breath by the time he got there. We get a VAR. He says the purple team receives a red card instead of saying Orlando, which doesn't make any sense to me. We'll get to that, a little bit later. I'm glad they at least tell you the decisions again for the VAR, but yeah, come on, guys, the purple team, really. But yeah, if Kubo scores in that situation, or if it's in the box, guys, I mean, do we talk about this game differently? If we go up 2-0, do we kill it off that much sooner? What are your thoughts on that, Sam?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. Considering, that wasn't the only chance that Kubo had on the night that he probably should have put away. But yeah, I think obviously that foul, immediate red card, like as first sight that I saw it, I'm surprised that it even went to VAR or had to. But yeah, after review, nice to see that reviews are finally going FCC's way, because usually it doesn't even get to VAR, right? Like most of the time they would have just left it, and then we would have been raging about it, during this podcast, but not as much, because there wasn't really anything else there. But yeah, I think we squabbled an opportunity there.
It, got a couple things on that foul. Ismail Elfath, the ref, is on that same level as Guido and who's the other guy? I can't even remember off the top of my head. Anyway, um, in my opinion, it was not surprising to me that he just said play on. From his angle, I could see it, and then even from the broadcast, it was iffy, but still like something that the VAR on his headset needed to check, right? Like without a doubt, last defender, you got to check it. That could change like you said, the dynamic of the match. In my opinion, I think it would. And then really, why are we so lucky? We seem to be getting a lot of red card, or like the other team gets a lot of red cards in the first half. So that always gives them that opportunity to like regroup at halftime and come out with a game plan. So that's why I think in a way it's we're going to probably talk about it a little bit later, but I think really that's what hurts us, because they always come out and play tough against us, and they actually have a game plan with 10 people versus 11. So
I saw this argument all over, like, online. Is it harder to play 11 on 11, or sometimes where you do have to play against 10 men that are kind of dropped back in a deep block like that? But clearly, like, Orlando didn't just bunker in and just lay over and die. Like, they came back and like kept shooting at us, and we'll get to
didn't even
talking about
change.
that later. But yeah, it's just fascinating. Like, and every single time we go up a man, it's like we just decide to roll over and say, oh, well, they have one less guy, but we'll just kind of take it easy. And, it's like, come on, you're up a man. You got to have more intensity. You got to be moving the ball around quicker. I mean, like you guys had mentioned, though, it was a disaster of a half for Orlando. We score 17 seconds in, they get a red card in the 20th minute. resulting of the Kubo foul was a free kick that Oriano hits the guy in the side of the head. Eventually has to come out in the 45th minute. So they make a sub for him. They make another sub for another center back because they lost one. So, I mean, 2 subs, a red card, and a goal scored, and we were only up 1-0 in the first half. So it was just like, what is happening? Now, my counterpoint to this, and Zach, I think you might have missed it, but 30th minute, Lucho does take a high kick to I think it was the side of his ankle. So were we playing with 10 and a half men out there? Like, I don't know. He wasn't really his typical self, but he did come back after the break. That's the big thing that I would say is, like, I was texting some people and I said, in this situation, Lucho's on yellow card caution or watch, I would say. He's at 4 yellows. One more and he's out for the crew game, and he's on a potential injury. Sub him out, like, don't risk it. I don't know what your thoughts are that, Sam.
Well, I believe that, like, I think it was the 37th minute, he had that strike from long distance, that it almost tucked into that left-hand corner. And you could almost see, like, after that, there was a reason he took that shot from long distance, or else he probably would have done, something like Lucho does, where I know we hate it sometimes, where he tries to dribble the ball, like, as far as he can into the box and then get a, good clean shot. But he decides to take it from distance because I'm guessing, like you had said, he came up limping in the 30th minute. So about 7, 8 minutes prior to that, he's taking a knock.
Well, I also wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys noticed this at all, but after the Kubo red card situation, the referee was like backing up and Lucho was coming up behind him. And like I think the
He
ref
hit
like
him.
stepped on his foot or
I
something.
saw that.
I was like, is this what happened? Like, there's no way.
Probably added to it. I mean, it was the same ankle maybe that he got kind of a high tackle. But yeah, I mean, as we go on, eventually he does get subbed out, in I believe it was 62nd minute. So he actually does play another, like, 15 plus minutes in the second half too. So, that's at least good to see that he could continue. Um, Guys, the second half though, the same trends continued. We had Murphy that got beat. Down the outside on a kick that was over the top. Gets around Celentano, but he actually recovers really, really well and kicks it off the line. I know we'll talk about that in a little bit, but good recovery by him. Just thought that we were very lucky that we didn't get scored on. 55th minute, we have Yedlin going back down the side. He gets bodied off the ball at the end line and limps again. Very similar type of, like, limp after, similar to the game before. So he has to come off, and you're thinking, man, we're only up 1 goal. We just had to make another sub. Lucho's hurt now too, potentially. Yedlin's hurt now. We're thinking towards the crew game. I think everyone was, but we still couldn't overlook the fact that, like, hey, we're still battling in this game. And it was just a nervy last 30 minutes of the game past that point.
Yeah, that Murphy recovery was outstanding. I mean, yeah, he gets beat, but I think that's showing that you don't give up on a play. Um, and I firmly believe, that is a reason that he starts and continues to start, and why he got a U.S. men's national team call up, like,
Good
because
shot.
of plays like that, heart hustle plays like that.
Yeah, don't give up.
But literally a minute afterwards, you had another chance that Orlando had that Miazga, it deflects off of his back and is wide off of the post to the left side. Like, that's another huge chance that Orlando has. I just, at that point, you're like praying to God that FC Cincinnati, like, holds on for dear life, and you're like, wait, aren't they still up a man? Like, what is this?
Yeah, that's what we were tending to forget, wasn't it? Like,
Right.
it still seemed like it was an 11v11 match at
Yeah,
that.
there's that little red card above the scoreboard, I think, still. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, it's just heartbreaking for that left side coming next week. But honestly, when with Yedlin coming off, and then really our backup is Halsey, so it's really slim coming into crew game next match. But I'm just heartbreaking that coming a few more minutes. I mean, we get that next card, but really Murphy situation. I mean, we've seen it all season, and really the growth that's led up to where he is now. It's that hustle and recovery, the speed that he can do, getting back. And I even heard the commentators, they were really scared about um, his pulling on the jersey during that play. I don't know if you guys caught that at all. He almost, I think he could have almost gotten a PK from Orlando had he not been as careful as he was. But um, no, excellent playing from him in that first few minutes.
Yeah, great shout. I mean, from both of you guys too, just to say like you get beat, but you recover. And that's like maybe a thing that he learns now in his third season compared to his rookie year, and how he got a red card against DC for, a stupid play, I think it was. So he's learning, and you can see that growth. As we get down to rookies that make mistakes, Halsey gets his second yellow for kicking the ball away in the 78th minute. So, again, just a moment to learn from. And at that point, the game does go to 10 versus 10. You really get more nervous at that point because we hadn't been really creating opportunities. They actually had a goal that went in, but it was called offside. So I just need to have, and I think you see it, you see Robinson kind of yell at the guys like, come on, like, let's get it together. Are we the team that's up or down, or up a man or down a man? We're not really sure. And maybe that needs to come from the coaching staff too in that situation. We do get fresh legs, so it wasn't like we didn't have fresh bodies in there as well. Kelsy comes in the I think it was 62nd minute, so he gets a solid 30 minutes. But Sam, as you kind of pointed out, I don't think Kelsy had played a competitive game besides the Olympic qualifiers for Venezuela. So, he really wasn't up to speed necessarily, but I think he did decent.
Yeah, I mean, like I had said, we're getting a quality guy. He just hadn't played in a while, right? So he's gonna need some time to shake the dust off a little bit. Um, but yeah, this game continued to get riskier. 67th minute, we have a goal by Orlando. It gets called off because of the offside, right? So, I mean, what did you guys think? Like instant reaction from that Apple TV view. Like what did we think genuinely? Like did we think that it was a goal?
Oh, I couldn't tell from where I was. Yeah, I mean, I was happy that they called it back and that there wasn't a check on it.
That was an amazing call by that ref. I'm not gonna lie, like that was very slim.
Yeah.
I'm honestly really surprised that didn't at
Well,
least
yeah,
go to
yeah,
VAR.
from like that first angle where they whip in the cross, like I'm going like that's a goal. I don't know what he's talking about. And then of course you do the whole slow down, slow mo and everything looks so obvious, right? But I mean, shout out to VAR, shout out to the ref on the side, like you said. FC Cincinnati gets lucky again though.
Well, yeah, and so after that, I mean, we finally get one decent shot. Sam, did you see anything in the 71st minute Dado's play to Kubo?
Yeah, I mean, had to do better. Like you had said with the first half chance, and this is his chance to kind of redeem himself from the first half. And God, what a turn by Dotto! Oh my gosh, like the man is so skillful on the ball, has insane footwork for his age. But I think as far as Kubo and not finishing that chance, I mean, do we kind of give him a break because he's, not technically a striker? I guess that's the downside of Kubo not being a true finisher and being able to be that Swiss Army knife to where like he's not as refined as, some of the other areas that a normal forward would be, right?
I I think Kubo has a lot more pressure than we think he does on him because obviously he's like you said, he's not a striker. So is Baird now just going to take his place and move Kelsey up there? Is Kubo feel a little, I can see how I mean that was a great play. I mean honestly the Dotto turn, the pass, he had the right like placement. It was just a little bit off. But honestly, like Kubo is not the one who would play off the ball like that and shoot. I think he's more like a poacher, a ball ricochets off, players in the box and he just volleys it or shoots it. Um, he like the commentator said, he didn't pick his head up when he went to shoot. You could tell he's not in his comfortable position. So I think we got to give him a little slack from that angle.
Yeah, the guy's played like 9 different positions, so you can't say he's like he's gonna be solid at one. He's good at multiple things, but maybe just not at the one, you know. I kid because he's actually had a decent year at striker, but with Yedlin possibly being out next game, does he slide into right wing back?
That'd be a big ask. That'd be a big ask after how many games in a row he's been playing up top for us. Hey, actually, you remember that right back position we played you at the beginning of the year? Kind of,
He would do
kind of
it.
need you.
Go to the
He
other.
would totally do it though, you know, and that's the thing that we love about Kubo. And now, do we have another striker that can go up there and play in Kelsey and be physical with the crew guys? Like, to be talked about later. But you know, as we end this game, we barely hang on, to be honest. I mean, Roman had to make some pretty good saves, I would say. Like you said, Sam, the deflection off Miazga's back. The other one I think was the 88th minute. Ladero had a header, like a point blank one that he puts wide. So
Well, I know we're going to touch on it later, but the Halsey red card too, right? So that was also a big thing later on in the game. 3 minutes before that huge Roman Celentano save, um, just a dumb second yellow from Halsey. He knows better, but he just wasn't thinking straight because he was a little frustrated. Dumb little poke at the ball and left it wide so that way it kind of waste time. But I thought that was a late yellow card as well.
I just shake my head at the amateur play that Halsey had there. I think he totally forgot that he was on a yellow. I'm gonna be honest because I don't think he was not thinking straight. That's for sure when he booted that.
no, I'm sure the experienced players in the locker room let him know about it. And I hate to say that it's going to affect his playing time kind of moving forward, but I feel like under Pat Noonan, like you mess up in a big way like that. I mean, it wasn't like a deal breaker, but I mean, now it's 10v10. At least we have the lead, but it puts us in kind of a crappy scenario for next week too. So yeah, I think in that moment it's easy to criticize. Like Sam said, it was a little soft in some ways. If the ref's gonna call him just kicking the ball over, how many times we see guys do that? You know, if it's a captain like Lucho, do they make that call for him or you know only because it is Halsey? I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was just the mindset that he had to have. Like he came in for DeAndre Yedlin, who he saw was hobbling.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think he just got caught up in the moment, and there's not really much you can say or do to help the guy out. Like it was just a stupid mistake.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the end, it's an ugly 1-0 victory, but it's another win. It's 3 in a row, you know, and we'll take that. One impression kind of that I wanted to touch on, I said it a little bit, but was just with Kelsy and how he did some nice hold up play, won some headers off of some goal kicks and punts, which we really hadn't seen this year. So his chemistry with Lucho, look going forward is kind of what I'm interested in because they didn't get to connect on the field for this game. But Sam, what were your impressions?
Yeah, my impressions were, I'm happy to get this dub against Orlando. Like I had said, like this team has been killing us, right? I believe, first win against Orlando since 2022. And looking at the stats and everything, you saw this was the last team that we had not beaten since the beginning of 2023 in the East. We had beaten every other team except Orlando because they gave us a whole bunch of fits and finally beat them. So that's great. But in total, FC Cincinnati have scored 4 first-minute goals in club history now. You've got Lucho's, you've got Edgar Castillo's, and then the other two are actually both Alan Cruz, which is really funny.
Random stat. um, love it though. Honestly, my whole thing is why can we never play a man up? We need to capitalize. That's where we need to get our goal differential through the roof, spike that up. But Yeah, it was just a rough match to watch, but overall, got a W on the road, and it was at Kelsey at 19. I mean, it's unreal how well he's playing. Just the brief glimpses we saw. So excited to see him play further.
Yeah, get him some more minutes and training. Get caught up to speed with the league too. You know, we talk about people coming in and trying to fit into MLS right away and being 19 like he is too. So added pressure. But kind of touching on Lucho real quick. So a stat that they put up during the game, I thought it was interesting. Obviously, he gets a goal in this game, but the assist leader in the MLS for active players now with 83 assists, one more than Nico Ladera, who plays for Orlando and played against him in this game. So pretty cool to see him as the active leader in assists. The other thing I was going to kind of do an honorary trivia question. This isn't going to be my official one, but the last time that Lucho had 5 games in a row with a goal or an assist was in 2018 with DC United from it looked like July 28th through August 19th. So it had been a couple of years since he had 5 games in a row with a goal or an assist, but I'm surprised he had done it before. It's pretty impressive to do that.
Yeah, he's cruising. He's cruising. I think, he's going to continue to set records this entire season until he, stops playing. Hopefully he retires in an FC Cincinnati jersey because he's carrying the team right now like he always does. I can't imagine what this team would look like without him.
His goal contributions, so goals and assists, is unmatched, obviously, from what we've seen. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So you're about to say something,
Well,
right?
I was just gonna say unmatched for FCC standards because then I was just looking today and it's like, wow, he's at 10 goals and assists combined, with total contributions, and then Messi's at 20. It's like, wow, holy crap. But I mean, you're
That comes with
playing.
a good offense too.
Yeah, no kidding. It's just insane because he's carrying the load and he's got that many contributions. He's leading the league in, chances created as well. Every other stat besides like what you see on the front lines with Inter Miami, he's doing all the little things. But guys, this was kind of interesting trivia question I have for you this week based on the red card that happens in this game, obviously in the first half for Orlando. But when is the last time that FC Cincinnati had a red card for us and ended up winning the game? I'm talking that Halsey got one later on in the game, obviously for us. So when's the last time that we had a red card and ended up winning?
Oh, do you want like an exact game or can I pick a month?
Whichever you'd like.
I'm gonna go with a generic month and year. We're gonna go June 2023.
Okay.
I wanted to say never, but honestly, this one happened. God, I want to say it was the USL era. Um, we'll go. We'll do April 2019. Or no, yeah, 20. Were we in MLS 2019? I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
No,
2019 was our first year.
Yeah, first year.
2018 then.
All right, 2018 it is. So stay tuned until the end of the episode and we'll give you the answer. We'll be right back. Hey, FC Cincinnati fans. We are pumped to share our new sponsor, Peak Cocktails.
I'm sipping on the passion fruit margarita, which is so spicy and it makes me feel like I'm on the beach.
Ooh, that sounds great. I'm drinking the Blood Orange Spritz, which has a great subtle ginger flavor coming from its scientifically formulated recipe to promote exercise recovery, enhance relaxation, and support a better night's sleep.
Ryan, that's exactly why I love them. Their cocktails are designed to fit seamlessly into your health conscious lifestyle, giving you the enjoyment of a delicious adult drink without the downsides of alcohol.
Guys, next time you are looking for that post-workout drink or an afternoon pick-me-up, grab a Peak Cocktail. Visit them at www.peakcocktails.com and use the code FLYINLION at checkout to get 20% off your first order. Zach, enjoy your drink. Welcome back, everyone. We are excited to be talking about a win against Orlando. I want to kind of like say that with a grain of salt because I was definitely frustrated during this game, but a win's a win, 3 in a row. One of the guys that gets subbed into the game late at right wing back is Alvas Powell, though, and it was good to see him back on the field. We wanted to give you guys some videos that Alvas had sent us. We had asked him some questions. So Alvas had some thoughts on his season so far, some kind of interesting points. So take a listen to that, and we'll be right back with you.
What has been your favorite moment in your FCC career so far?
Winning the Supporter Shield. That means a lot to me and my family and our beautiful fans. So yeah, Supporter Shield.
How is the season going so far for the squad and yourself?
I think the season's going pretty well for us. You know, we just continue to work hard in training and get the result that we need in games. So everything is coming into place.
Who's the biggest jokester or prankster on the team?
I would say Sergio and myself. I'll give it to Nick, but definitely me and Sergio.
What was it like scoring against a Jamaican team earlier this season?
It was good. It was a good feeling getting my first goal for the club. So it means a lot to me, and especially the team get the 3 points that we needed. So that was great. It was a good night for me. I enjoyed the moment.
Thanks for listening to those words from Alvas Powell. Again, he had gotten an appearance for FC Cincinnati. Finally, it feels like a while since he had played. Did a decent job on the outside, but it was just interesting to hear from him and his perspective on the year. You know, his biggest moment being winning Supporters Shield. I think the dude had won the MLS Cup before, so it was cool to see that Shield was a big, important moment for him for FCC. And his jokester. I think, Sam, did you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I obviously he thinks highly of himself as a big personality in the clubhouse. But I thought it was even cooler, like how much, him scoring against the Jamaican team really, how much that meant to him. And he's a big Flyin Line podcast stan, so he keeps up with all this stuff, right? So he's gonna be sending us some more stuff. You just know it, right?
Yeah, as a friend of the pod, I mean, he's a great man. Love to see him. Glad that we could hear some of those words from him. But yeah, honestly, I would pick Alvas over Santos any day.
Yeah, I mean, just a good dude. And that's kind of what I took away from the videos too. We again appreciate him for sending us those and answer some of the questions we had about his year so far. So guys, we'll move along here. I'm interested to see where we went with this, but Sam, what was your card of the week?
Yeah, so card of the week. I'm gonna go with the ref VAR announcements. They still need some fine tuning, guys. Still need some fine tuning. We're not quite to the NFL quality type, yet. I think with the MLS, what makes it a lot different than the NFL or the NBA or even Major League Baseball that does all of these things. I think there's a language barrier. I think there's more of a language barrier
Sure.
than there is in any other sport, because it is the world sport. But not sure how much better it's gonna get, considering that's just you're gonna have to deal with that all the time. But hey, I'm happy to have it though. Happy to have explanations. Happy to have something alongside VAR to give the fans a different perspective on what the ref was thinking.
Honestly, that's funny. Really funny you say that, Sam, because the match that we had a VAR at home, I don't think any of us really understood what he said or what came out of that. So
No, yeah.
you make a good point, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna unroll it, like work out the kinks with it, or like, red card on the purple team. It's like, did you just forget the name of the team, or what's going on with this?
I just don't think they're used to being mic'd, like
Yeah, it's true.
the purple team. Oh damn, did I just say purple team?
Otherwise known as Orlando.
Yeah,
Zach, what
yeah.
was your card of the week?
Yeah, but we went pretty in depth on it, but Halsey's double yellow to red, um, that hurts us. Just with already slim wingback options. You got Yedlin, you got Halsey. I guess Powell and like you said, Kubo are really the only two options we have, and probably it's going to be with the veteran Powell, our good friend. So honestly, like you said, I think Halsey's going to learn from it. I don't know if it'll put him in bad standings with Pat. I think that's going to be. I think they're going to turn it into a learning experience over benching him for it. But obviously he's going to get benched because of the red card, so that's his consequence. But I think he's definitely. I think Matt will have a nice work.
I think Miatas could probably takes him under his wing and says something. But I feel like if you guys watch this game, and I mean, I posted about it on X, I mean, Matt had done a lot more and deserved a card. He escaped this game without a single yellow card, which is just insane because he was chatting it up with their center back and was mean mugging him and going, it was just like brilliant, chef's kiss. So yeah, Matt would be the perfect person to go over to Halsey and be like, brother, it's all good. Other games, you're not going to get caught for this. Guys, my card of the week was the medical staff for Orlando for not taking off their player after the head injury. There's been a lot said about concussions in soccer. This guy clearly was not in the right frame of mind at all. He was like, limping off the field. I hope he's okay because he had to come off the field and they should have honestly put him on a stretcher or something. Probably with the heat too, that played into it. That was part of mine. The other part of my card of the week was this. Did you guys, I don't know if you saw this, the no red card call on Forsberg for the Red Bulls. Did you guys see this versus Miami? Oh man. So there was a high challenge, like halfway up of Forsberg's leg, like from behind, and he got a yellow card for it. And that in that moment, I think it was either 1-1 or it might have been 2-1 Miami, but changed the game. If that guy gets a red card, it's different. It's not 6-2 maybe. But it was just fascinating to me that, we had just a disparity of calls throughout the league.
Yeah, and then they would have, would have gotten lost in translation after VAR. So
True. Yeah, true. But as we move on, Sam, jersey swap. Where are we going this week?
Yeah, jersey swap. I think this may be one of the first times I've ever gone back to back with Lucho as my jersey swap, to be honest with you. The guy just continues to kill it. I don't know how we, don't have him as a jersey swap every week. Like it's got to be just a given. But once again, fastest goal scored in FC Cincinnati history with 17 seconds the week after he is the all-time leading goal scorer in FC Cincinnati history. It's the 9th fastest goal in MLS history as well. And he was helping out on defense. He was even second on the team in tackles.
Whoa.
Lucho, what a guy.
Not to mention, I was going to say, not to mention his MLS, was it team of the season or whatever for FIFA, for FC 24.
Yeah, 91 rated.
91 rate. So, I mean, what a week for him. You're right.
Man.
I think we should just do an honorary, jersey swap of the week is Lucho. Everyone assumes that and knows that. We just set that aside for us.
Yeah, you're like, okay, the Flyin Line pod jersey swap is always Lucho. Okay, what do you got? Who do you think?
You just got to put your Lucho shrine up.
Right. Outside of the guy that makes,
do we need our own little Jesus statue, but its face is Lucho?
It's true. We need that. There's depths to this.
It needs to be in Ryan's closet, right over his right shoulder.
Right over Messi's face.
Yeah.
Or this way. Yeah, right over Messi's face, maybe this way. That way. Somewhere over there. Zach, what was your jersey swap of the week?
I went with Murphy. I think he really saved the game for us a bit there. Not to say Celentano did pretty good, but I would say Murphy, it was an open goal, and that Orlando guy should have scored that, but Murphy did his job. He got beat, like we said, but he was on that back line to back up Celentano and cleared that ball off the line. Honestly, that was, I think, one of the biggest defensive plays we've seen all season so far. So even though it was a mistake on his end getting beat, he made up for it with the brilliant save. So I really give the jersey swap just for really that play from him.
Moment of growth for Murphy is what I would call that. Absolutely. No comment from Sam. Sam agrees with that. He's like, "Yep, Murphy did it."
You can't mess with
it. Yeah,
guys, I went with. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, once again, like just a phenomenal clearance. Like
Yeah,
how he tracked back and had the wherewithal to, even think of like, okay, if, Celentano's out, I have to be like somebody has to be behind him covering him. So the layers to the defense is, pretty solid.
for sure. So I mean, I'm gonna make Roman Celentano my jersey swap of the week. Obviously we talked about how he just got beat on this play with Murphy. I don't think that was necessarily his fault, but as Sam alluded to earlier in the pod, the first in the MLS with 4 clean sheets. Now, in this game, he had 2 really crucial saves. He comes back after his 4-week absence and does pretty solid in this game. Should have been an honorary MLS Team of the Week bench player, in my opinion. Guys, the stash is back too, so I'm really excited about that for him.
Yeah. I'm happy to have the stash back as well. I think it gives him superpowers. I think it'll lead him to possibly winning the Golden Gloves of the MLS here at the end of the year. Um, that's what I'm hoping for because he deserves it, man. I mean, for as much crap and as much flack as he'll get on Twitter and everywhere else about his distribution, he is one of the best, arguably the best shot stopper, just pure shot stopper in the MLS, without a doubt.
The consistency is undeniable. I mean, last season he was up there with, top 3 goalkeepers, and he's already at the top this year. I just saw that recent stat put out, or that graphic put out, and I mean, he's there. I mean, he's the best shot stopper. Sam, you stole it straight from me. He's going to get Golden Gloves. I'm seeing it. I'm
I
going to
think
bet on
it's
that one.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I think if you really look at the last several games that he was out and how he played, outside of, obviously Colorado, I'd feel like Atlanta was somewhat representative of this, but having Roman in goal is a huge difference. And as a shot stopper, as a vocal leader in the back, he hasn't lost this year when he's been in goal. So I think that says something, absolutely. And based on last year's stats too. So great shout. Hope Roman by the end of the year is fighting for that over a man up north, who we will kind of probably highlight a little bit coming up here for Hell is Real. But guys, I wanted to just really quickly kind of highlight this Santos situation. I don't know if a lot of people are talking about it, but he's a healthy scratch in this game, but he's making $814,000 and he didn't even make the bench. Is that something that was outside of what's going on? We're not sure. I don't know if he's favored by Pat right now. Dotto is winning that battle for your backup in that position. I would say Kelsey even too. So it's very interesting, especially with Bupenza out. Do we do a one-time buyout for Santos? What are your opinions on that, Sam?
Yeah, I think depending on what age you put him at, he's the second oldest forward behind Kubo, at 29 years old, Kubo being 30. I mean, this year he hasn't been too bad. Like he just hasn't. I don't know. He hasn't really had a spark in the team at all. I know he scored in Jamaica, which was really cool, and that was a much needed goal in the moment because that was the first goal. And then Pinto gets the second one, but yeah, I think he really hasn't really taken advantage of some of the chances that he's gotten this season. I believe he's had 3 starts and maybe 8 appearances, I want to say, in the year. But yeah, no, no, not too much sympathy for me from Santos because he does it to himself.
Ryan, I think you've got the Kentucky Derby still on your mind. There's a reason you said scratch, isn't there? Besides the point. Um, Santos, I think honestly, with the whole Boop situation, I think he still needs to be in the lineup. With that whole question mark still out there, I think I mean, the depth right now, I mean, Baird, I mean, after Baird, who do we have, right? You kind of have to go towards Santos. So, granted, he's very injury prone, so I think that's also part of the reason why. So that he could be just saving Santos for that rainy day. When we're schedule when the schedule is very like congested. So I don't know. I think it's a large salary for him to be on the bench, but him not getting minutes as consistent is a little concerning.
if we have to like make up situations for this guy to like fit into certain scenarios and he's making that much money, like
Yeah.
that's not a good thing. I mean, Dado's making 71,000 and he's getting, the second most amount of sub appearances of anyone in the MLS I was seeing today. So it's like at some point, I think they have to look at that roster spot and say, okay, we struck out, with that. The same thing, and kind of my thought with Bupenza is a very similar opinion of, it's a high dollar player that you got some productivity from, but if they're not going to produce, and that's a potential to open that spot up or that money up to somebody, we're doing well if we're functioning without those players right now too. So whichever way you want to look at it, whether we're wasting that money, or if we do end up doing a buyout, like we can maybe bring somebody in for that amount of money or around that salary hit. And I think we could do a nice return on that, or do other players get bonuses or their salaries increase with that money? I don't know. It's interesting. We're not like a huge podcast to go into the specifics of the roster, the salary build, any of that.
Tam,
Self-admittedly,
Ram, Fam.
yeah, no, but like it's just something to ponder. And I just thought it was interesting that even in this game, he doesn't even get on the 18. So very interesting. But as we go to FCC 2, guys, man, these guys are winning 3 in a row as well. So a big 2-1 victory against Crown Legacy, which is Charlotte's second team, a comeback win. Sam, anything that you saw in this game?
Our boy, Steven Chirilla,
Call him up.
continues to kill it. Continues to kill it. He steps up, scores a PK, first goal for FCC 2. I mean, what more could he ask for right there? And then later on in the game, we show some resilience by coming back. We were down 1-0, then we make it 1-1, 2-1 game-winning goal by Mangione. I mean, guys, this team finds a way to win. I love it. 3 wins in a row, and the youth are looking real nice. They're starting to put it together.
Better than last year. Can we just say?
Absolutely
So much better than last year.
But I think the talent pool is way better than last year,
Well,
too.
you saw a lot more signings this year, right? We had mentioned
Yeah.
that at the beginning of the year, right?
True.
We were wanting to get depth and youth back into that second team, and we prioritized that and put a lot of money towards that, and we're seeing the benefits right now.
So again, for those listening and wondering, who is Stefan Chirilla? If you didn't listen to the prior podcast, so we talked about him.
We've talked
he's
about
a-
it multiple times.
Yeah, U17 player with over 40 goals on the year. Now 41, combined with FCC 2. He's going to be an unbelievable player. We need to sign him before some other big club in Europe gets to him. He's already made the move up from U17s to FCC 2. It's time. I think it's closer to the summer, they might look at a move to move him up. If Steven Jimenez can get a contract, like I don't see any reason why Chirilla shouldn't, especially in a striker position that's of need. I think that would be something to look out for. Absolutely. So everyone wants to hear about it. Let's move towards it, guys. Hell is real. Round 1 against Columbus in Columbus. Match day number 13 in the MLS. How appropriate is that? I don't know if you guys noticed that. It's our 12th game, but match day 13 in the MLS. I just think that's hilarious. Guys, we've never won in lower.com stadium. What a dumb name for a stadium.
I was about to say that's
A
that'll
dump.
never get old. That'll never get old.
Like lower.com, really. Okay. Anyway, yeah, we just need to play better compared to last game, and I think they know that. Everyone knows that. Pat knew that. Like, the energy has just got to be so much better to get a result in a hostile environment, but we're going to have a lot of our fans up there. Show out, be loud, be proud. No matter what's happened in the past, I don't care about all this talking online. You got to go out there and play. That is the biggest thing, and we've talked so much. Supporter Shield, MLS Cup, this and that, who has what? One team's in Kentucky, one team, should have been in Austin. It's like the team's got to go out there and play and show it. And I'm sick of the talk almost in some ways, and I just want us to show up and just be just bratty in this game. I almost am okay with Miazga just being a total, what.
I was about to say that's the guy that we're keying in on, who's going to get under the skin of
100%.
the crew
and
players.
how does Miles Robinson play in this rivalry game? I'm really fascinated to see his
He
role in it.
he better wear that badge on his sleeve, wear it with heart. And I honestly I want Miles Robinson to go out there and just lay it all on the line, show him like, all right, let's go. I'm with FC now. Like, let's ride.
This is where you earn your stripes, you know, and this is where you show your FCC like glory, you know. And I think this would cement if Lucho plays in this game and plays well, it cements even more of his legacy.
This is where Miles Robinson creates his own canvas. All right.
Whoa.
All right. His own
Mm,
painting on the new canvas, baby.
Does he take the
tasty.
shirt off and hold up the badge? Is he gonna pull a Ronaldo or a Messi?
Ronaldo, Messi, they've all done it. The greats. Why
It's
not
true.
Miles Robinson?
Zach, any thoughts?
Sorry, I thought we were still talking on giving the back line some love, but honestly, it's going to be a game of offense this match. We got to see something, right? Like lower.com field. Well, I don't even know what Orlando's stadium's called, but
It's like Inter something.
it,
It's like their rival team.
Sunshine Field.
it's we just we gotta see some creativity and some production. Otherwise, Ryan, like you said, it's gonna be like what we just saw. It's gonna be with the rowdiness, with crew. I mean, they saw. I mean, some of the players saw how they played in TQL, but half the team is new, like we said. So seeing this rivalry in person is going to be a whole different story.
Yeah, I think, Ryan, I think you wanted to mention this, but the health of the squad going into this game, we are looking battered and bruised, and like it's not looking good going into the game. What are you seeing as takeaways from the health perspective?
I just don't want it to be an excuse. Like every time we play them, it's Lucho's out with yellow cards, or Nance's out with suspensions, or Miazga's out because he's suspended in the playoffs. Like there's always something when we play them. And I'm just sick of the excuses. Whoever's on the field has to understand the moment. And, whether that's Yedlin that can play at 80% and be good to go and give us all he's got, I'm cool with that. If it's Kubo that slides into that spot and plays with his heart out, I'm sure Kubo will. He's been in this moment. I just need those guys to understand that. Zach, you made a great point though. Like 6 of these guys had never even played the crew before, never even understood this rivalry. So in some ways, do you see this as it wipes you clean, in terms of like your conscience of like you had the lead, you could have been into the MLS finals, but you lose in that game. Like if it's Barrial, if it's Vasquez, if it's those guys, like you're like, damn, I really want to get back at these guys, but is it also on the same point? Like for these guys, it's they've never had it. So they can go in with just a clean mind and just say, I don't care who the heck it is, this is a new team to me anyway. So just understanding the moment and just not getting dominated by it, because a lot of the crew guys are the same and they know the moment. They know what it's going to be like. They're playing at home. They have a freaking bye week before we play them. Talk about excuses again. Sorry. But yeah, I don't know how they have a bye week before they play us coming after they just made the CONCACAF finals. That's ridiculous to me. That should have been my yellow card. But yeah, there's always something. We know that with this game, there's always going to be excuses from both sides. We just got to show up. And health wise, yeah, it's kind of a question, but Lucho's going to play. There's no doubt. It's if our strikers can hold up the ball and take the pressure off, because that's really it. Columbus is going to be in possession the whole game. We're going to be put under pressure and we're going to have to hold the ball and be able to control possession there. Because look how they played, Monterrey. Monterrey is such a high pressure type team that can play in quick spaces, and the crew just dominated them in that asset. So, we have to be that good or better, and the way we played Orlando is not it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. High energy. And we need our depth to step in. But with stepping in and showing out for this game, boys, this next next week is gonna be pretty special. Ryan, you want to tell the people what's going on next week?
Guys, tune in for our Columbus Crew Hell is Real round 1. We're going to be either doing a live episode for you, most likely, or either that or a reactionary one, depending on the results. Most likely a live one because we want the raw emotions. But it will be our 50th episode, so it's going to be a huge moment. We're also going to celebrate 1 year of being a podcast as well for this match. I'm going to call it now. What a better way, let's get a win. Let's get a win on the road against Columbus.
Score.
Love it.
I'm going to go score-wise. Honestly, I think I want to win, and I'm going to say 2-1. In the back of my head, though, I'm thinking a 1-1 tie, to be honest.
Okay. I'm gonna go with a 2-0 win. FC Cincinnati gives us a 2-0 win. Roman Celentano, another clean sheet, and we get that second goal that we wish we would have had against Orlando.
I'm probably going to go with a 2-1 win, like you said, Ryan, but I feel like in the back of my mind, I'm actually thinking it's a 0-0 draw because honestly, looking at the current differential and, scoring clean, I mean, we're both sitting at 13 and like 7. But neither of us can really put goals in, but we're also both stacked on our defense. So it's going to be a close one.
Guys, Guido Gonzalez is the ref. I mean, that furthers your point, Zach. You're going to see a lot of cards, a lot of the Guido show. If we all remember from past games with Guido, he likes to really be in charge of the game. But honestly, we need somebody to take control of it from a ref standpoint and not let, these hotheads come together too much. I think what will help us, Miazga obviously is the biggest one in playing the Crew before, Lucho as well, but a lot of the other guys don't really understand as much of that. Maybe that helps too. I don't know.
Speaking of hotheads, Ryan, what's that trivia question answer?
So yeah, in the red card fashion, right? So back to our question of the week was, when is the last time that FC Cincinnati had a red card and ended up winning the game? So again, Halsey gets a red card this past game. We end up winning. The last time that we had a red card and ended up winning the game was against Seattle last year, early on in the year. So I have to go back and check on which month it was, but I don't think it was June, Sam, because I remember it was I think it was a colder game. I want to say maybe March 11th of 2023 is the last time.
I got a half a point.
You get a half point. Yeah.
I got a half point.
You get a half point. Just kind of fascinating to me. In that game, Nick Hagelin got the red card. Brenner gets the game-winning goal. We had other games with red cards last year. We either drew or lost, but we get the dub this time. In this past game, we get 3 in a row in terms of wins. Guys, big week coming up. Again, for those who are listening, go like, subscribe, listen to our content. We'll be rolling out a lot of Hell is Real stuff on Saturday. And we are excited to have you guys join us. So thank you, Zach. Thank you, Sam. And we'll see you then.